So then you had some children. You and Richard got married, and you had 2 children?
I had
Three.
three sons altogether.
Right.
Yes, Eric came over 2 years later,
Yes.
and then 2 years after that, less than 2 years, it was Lamont. Then there was no more, till I was in my late 30s, and I got caught.
And you had,
I wasn't amused.
but you had a wonderful son, Ian. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was Ian, my
Yes.
youngest one. He kind of made up for things once he came. I hated being pregnant. I would try to hide on it, and Richard seemed to want to show it off. Would drag me out with it.
Oh.
I didn't want to.
So you had the boys, and the boys stayed here on the ranch.
Yes, they grew up on the ranch, and they went to school in Corcoran. There was a bus. Actually, what were we going to do about school? You see, this was it. So we went to the top man. You go to the top. There's no use talking about everybody in between. You know,
Like a
get all kinds
superintendent or
of,
something?
you get all kinds of advice and no answers. So we went right to the top and spoke to this man. He was in Calgary, and he said, "You must remember, I am biased in favor of education." I said, "That's why we're here." And it was the Wassons, the Beggs, and ourselves, you see.
Yes.
So he said, "Now the thing to do is you develop a school district, and you think of a name for that school district." I said, "We'll call it the Keystone, because of the old Keystone oil well up here." Mm-hmm. The only other, it was the Baymar. That didn't sound good. The Keystone sounded better.
Yes.
So I said, "Well, why don't we call it the Keystone?"
And that's how it got its name.
Yeah.
So you got the bus to come, or what?
Yeah, the bus. And Begg was just waiting for that. He wanted to drive the bus. He'd get somebody else to milk the cows so he could drive the bus.
So the children were going to school where?
And Cochrane.
In Cochrane.
And went all the way to Cochrane.
Yes.
I drove Eric to school in Beaupre for a year. It was a total waste of time. This old boy, when he wasn't teaching, was drunk. But anyhow, Eric didn't learn a thing. Didn't learn a thing. But it was supposed to be grade 1. Poor Eric, he was such a sensitive child. And so we took him to Cochrane, and it just so happened for grade 2, it was one of the best grade 2 teachers that had ever been in Cochrane.
Oh,
she was absolutely marvelous. By Christmas time, he'd caught up to the others.
Oh, isn't that good?
He worked,
Yes.
and 2 days before school finished for the Christmas holiday, he just collapsed and slept. He slept, I think for 14 hours straight. Poor kid was exhausted. But when he went back after the New Year, he was caught up. So it wasn't the stress anymore. And he got along very well.
Things were very different in some ways. The boys still had chores like you had chores, and
oh yes,
and the ranch was going and growing and evolving.
Well, they ran tractors.
Yes.
Mont was very keen on the machinery.
Yes.
Eric kind of looked after the animals, but Mont, he was driving the truck. He used to drive the truck while his dad unloaded the feed. He just put it in gear, and he set him, and he would stand on his knees and steer this truck where his dad told him to go while he threw off the feed. And I remember one time he was away, and this was my chore. And here he is leaning on, Mommy and Daddy doesn't. Aaron was Eric's first, and Alyssa.
And
Alyssa was Eric. And Lamont just had Dale.
Yes.
Just the one son.
One son. And Erin still lives here on the ranch with her husband, is that correct?
Yes, she married Darcy Scott.
Yes,
And they
yes.
lived up and down there.
And you have some great-grandchildren.
Oh, yes.
And who are they?
Great-grandchildren. Oh, dear, wait till I think.
Katie.
And Aaron's kids.
Katie.
I sort of got my mind channeled in some direction. I can't get back to
Katie and Sam?
Yeah, it was Katie. Katie was the girl, you know, so they called her Katie.
Sam.
That was her name. And then Samuel.
There you go, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,